Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the top 5 best subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3's new patch 8. This is part of the stress test. I'll be breaking down each of the new subclasses here, giving my thoughts on each of them and showing you the top 5 most strong of these. So I'll just give a brief breakdown of all the patch 8 subclasses here. So the Arcane Archer is like a long-range fighter, and you get different arcane arrows that enhance your abilities. We got the College of Glamour Bard, which is focused around charming the enemy and enhancing your teammates. We got the Hexblade Warklock, which gives you charisma scaling on your weapon at level 1, which is actually really huge for people that like to play like the enhanced divine smite paladin or the 3 attack fighter. So some great multi-class abilities there. We got the Death Domain Cleric, which allows you to use cantrip on 2 different targets here from their necromancy list, and it's got some fun abilities as well. The Shadow Magic Sorcerer, the big thing being you hide out in the shadows, and you get the Hound of Ill Omen, which can split itself off into multiple dogs. We got the Swashbuckler Rogue, which gets a cool bonus action ability to either give disadvantage on attack rolls or disarm your target, which is actually pretty effective. We got the Circle of Stars Druid, which has 3 different forms that can enhance his abilities in those forms. The Oath of the Crown Paladin. Now with this one, it's more of a defender. I think this is the true tank of Baldur's Gate 3 because you can compel all targets in a large radius around you to only attack yourself. We have the Giant Barbarian, which is a really fun throwing build class because it gets the ability to add an elemental damage type to your weapon and apply the throw-in mark to it, which is huge because there's only a few throw-in weapons in the game. This allows you to use anything. We also have the Bladesinging Wizard, which is kind of tanky, and it's a gets 2 attacks. I did a build on it yesterday. I love it. It's one of my favorites with cool attack animations. We got the Way of the Drunken Master Monk, which isn't that powerful, but also very cool attack animations. You can throw a bottle up in the air, punch it into a person. It's pretty funny. And the Swarm Keeper Ranger, which gives you a swarm that can enhance your attacks and help you move around the battlefield. So I guess I'll start off. This is in no particular order. I can't decide on which of these is most powerful. However, I will give my overall thoughts on what the strength of these is. Now, I personally think the Arcane Archer is very strong, so we'll start with this one here. So with the subclass Arcane Archer, the really big benefit of this is the arcane shots. Now you get a variety of different ones here. So you can get like a banishing arrow, you can get a beguiling arrow here, which is psychic damage and makes the target charmed. We have the bursting arrow, which will hit in a huge area effect and do force damage to 3-meter radius. Enfeebling arrow, which gives 2d6 necrotic damage and makes the target become feeble, which reduces any strength-based attacks they may have. We have the grasping arrow, which does poison damage and reduces movement speed by 3 and will take damage when it moves, kind of like a booming blade of sorts. We have the seeking arrow. This turns your arrows into magic missiles so they can curve around walls. What's cool about this is sometimes you run out of movement speed and you can't actually hit a target, but with a seeking arrow, it'll find its way to the target like a magic missile, which is amazing. And it can possibly inflict the target with fairy fire, which will give advantage on attack rolls. Then there's also the Shadow Arrow, which does additional psychic damage and must succeed a saving throw or become blinded, which is huge because it'll get disadvantage on attack rolls and you get advantage on attack rolls against it. And then the Piercing Arrow, which kind of is like Lightning Bolt. It does weapon damage plus piercing damage. So these are very strong. I think the best ones here, like Bursting Arrow is great. The Seeking Arrow is extremely effective because sometimes you just can't hit somebody without using that. And then the Shadow Arrow or the Piercing Arrow are really good. So I'll be showing all of these off. You also get the choice of Guidance, Light, or True Strike cantrip. So Guidance is probably the only one that's even worth taking, but it gives you a concentration, which is kind of funny. So you can make your Arcane Archer the person that's going to drop Guidance on people, which is interesting. But you get Arcane Arrows as you continue to level up. And that's where this class really becomes strong, is because it's got those that add extra damage on its normal attack damage. And at level 7, you get a nice bonus here. So you get the Magic Arrow. All your ranged attacks are considered magical to overcome resistances to physical damage. And you also get the Curving Shot. When you miss with any magical range attack, use a bonus attack action to attack the next closest target with the same attack, which is really cool. So if you miss a target, you can make it so that it hits another target. I think that's awesome. And you also get to pick at level 7 a second shot here. So you got some good options. The psychic damage is nice. 2 big things. You can double psychic damage and you can double piercing damage. What's cool about this is it's going to be strong all the way through the game. At level 10, you get to choose another arrow here, and this just further enhances your abilities. At level 11, you get the ever powerful extra attack. So that's obviously not a subclass feature. It's just it's a class feature. But what makes this class so powerful is these arrows. So you can see here, let's say we're here and we want to hit Will. It'll curve its way around and find your target. So you can shoot that and it'll hit them and give additional damage. Where this is strong is because it does your weapons damage plus an additional 1d6 or 2d6 of a certain damage type. So this can become very powerful very quickly, because early game you normally would just do a weapon attack like as a normal fighter. You don't get extra damage unless you choose the Battle Master. This will further enhance that. You also got the piercing arrow, which you can see there can actually hit multiple targets at a time. So with that, you can just keep blasting people. And in late game, you can get the ballast armor, which will double the damage of this. So that becomes very powerful. So I use 2 of my arcane arrows, and you get 10 of them per short rest, and you can get 30 of them per, I guess, if you got a few long or short rests, which is pretty crazy. There's also the bursting arrow, which you can see hits in actually a very large area of effect. So with the bursting arrow, you can make it go boom, kind of like a fireball of sorts, and you can roll separate critical hits on each of those targets. So yeah, I think that this one is going to be very strong, especially early game, because you get those extra damage die on your weapon attacks from the start of the game. They don't scale up, but you get more arrows as you continue to attack. So you'd want to obviously be using these as much as possible. I am surprised. I didn't think the Arcane Archer would be this powerful. Obviously, the Fighter being quite strong too does enhance this class quite a bit. But yeah, I do think that it's going to be a fun one and definitely an interesting class to play around with. So I will show off this Sorcerer last. A little spoiler alert for the end of this video. I think the Shadow Magic Sorcerer is pretty strong, and I'll show you how to make it strong. The next one we're going to go with is the Giant Barbarian. Now, this is cool for a variety of reasons. One of them being you can make yourself large. So with this, you got yourself this Rage, the Giant's Rage, which increases yourself in size, and rage damage bonus is doubled on throw attacks. In addition, we also get Vaprak's Greed, which is giving you an increased carry capacity by a quarter. Vaprak is a lesser deity to orcs in this game, or in Dungeons & Dragons, I guess, in total. And you also get Thaumaturgy, but the big thing with the Giant is actually getting the ability to add the Elemental Cleaver onto your attacks. Also at level 5, you get the Boot of the Giants. You can try to kick away a target, bonus action ability. Your chances depend on your athletics and are higher if you're hidden or invisible. So you get to kick them and push them away. You can push people off of ledges this way. It's actually really strong. But at level 6 is when we get the Elemental Cleaver. Channel Primordial Might into your weapon. Until the end of your rage, you can deal additional acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage, and the weapon will gain the thrown properties. So you can put this on really any weapon, and it'll become a throwing weapon, which will immediately reappear in your hand. This opens up a lot of things. I actually think this might be the best class that we got in patch 8. I'll be fully honest. Being able to add cold damage is really effective because you can then set up and create ice surfaces with that as well using the Snowburst ring. Now, the Barbarian itself is very tanky and defensive. You also get the Mighty Impel for a creature that is medium-sized or smaller, so you largen yourself, pick up a target, and toss them around. This can be cool for a number of reasons, which you'll see here. I'll just briefly show off what this ends up looking like. Unfortunately, you do have to be in combat to be able to rage here, but whenever you're in your rage, you're going to double yourself in size, and then you're going to apply the Elemental Cleaver, and you can add like a cold damage 1d6 to it, and this is great because then you can make any weapon a throwing weapon. You don't have to care about what it really about anything. You can make them all viable in this build, which is very interesting. And then you also got yourself the Boot of the Giants. So you can see here, you can go ahead and boot them. This is Sparta! Kick them. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Bonus action abilities are pretty fun. And you also get the Mighty Impel, which you can pick up a target and toss them as a bonus action. So you get 2 attacks with your throwing, and then you can enhance that with your kicks. And you also got the, obviously, reckless attack as well. I think this will be a very interesting class. And one that you can multi-class as well, because obviously one of the biggest benefits of multi-classing is like the Thief. You get yourself an extra bonus action, so you can do 2 kicks or 2 throws per turn. I'm curious to see how multi-classing will pan out for this. I've been testing a few different ones, and I think that this could be a very powerful class. And I think it might be the most powerful, but we'll see. The next subclass is the Bladesinging Wizard. Now, this is cool for a variety of reasons, but what it does is you get the training and warn songs. You get light armor proficiency and proficiency with daggers, sickles, short swords, rapiers, scimitars, and long swords. With this, you can use the Blade Song, which will give you a +2 to your armor class, increase your movement speed by 3 meters, gain advantage in acrobatics, and a +2 to Constitution saving throws. So you can drop down concentration, so you'll have a nice bonus to holding them. You can only wear light armor, but that's not a big problem because some of the best weapons here are actually going to be dexterity based. So you want to have like a light armor, like the ballast armor, which will double your piercing damage, which is kind of crazy. Now with this, you get the choice of different spells here as per the usual wizard choices, but you get to choose a Bladesinging weapon. So you can get like long swords, rapiers, short swords. It'll give you this weapon, but as you continue to level up, you'll see the cool animations that come with it. So once you make your way to level 6, you get yourself the extra attack, kind of similar to the Sword Bard. So it's a little delayed from the other class that get at level 5, but that's not to worry because at level 5, you still get Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Haste, and many other powerful spells. But this extra attack is very nice because then you get options when it comes to combat. And once you make it to level 10, you get the Song of Defense. So when you take damage during your blade song, you can expend a spell slot to subtract 5 damage per spell slot. So if you use a level 6 spell, I wouldn't recommend it, but you would expend and prevent 30 points of damage, which is actually kind of crazy. So you get all the rain there in terms of what type of damage you want to, or how much damage you want to block. You also get the awesome Booming Blade, Bursting Sinew spells. So you get some fun ones, even Toll the Dead, which is new to patch 8. But this is the wizard that you know and love, but with a very nice twist on it. So it's actually very powerful. So to power ourselves up, we got to use the blade song here, which will give you a bonus to your attacks. So you can apply that there. Now your blade singing, and you also get the blade song climax, which can give yourself additional damage and heal targets within that range. So it's pretty cool. Now what this ends up looking like, you get cool attack animations you'll see here. So this one, you just swing the sword around like that. It's just pretty cool how it looks. Now another fun thing to do, you can see here that cool animation. That's the one thing about the Bladesinging wizard, it does have the coolest animations in the game. Now my favorite is using a rapier, because whenever you use a rapier, look at this is very flashy. So you do a cool backwards flipping attack like that. It's pretty crazy. I think that this is some of the coolest stuff with the leg lift there. It looks awesome. So you can see there, boom, lift up the leg. I think that this part in particular is pretty cool, but you get the ability to cast like chain lightning, and then you can also do 2 weapon attacks. You got lots of options with this. You're pretty buffed up with this class. I think that the Bladesinging wizard might actually be one of the best wizard subclasses. I think it might be the second best after Abjuration, because that build is just crazy what you can do with it. But this one itself is very powerful because you got melee attacks that are pretty buffed up, and then you can also cast spells if you need to, and you can cast yourself things like Longstrider. So lots of buffs, lots of spells. There's just so much to love about this subclass. Now the Hexblade wizard or warlock is very interesting for a number of reasons, because this is a great multi-class, because at level 1 you get so much from it. So you can get the shield spell, which is nice. This is going to be 2 shields per short rest. Very strong, actually, because the further you go, you don't want to burn a level 5 spell slot to increase your armor class by 5. That's not sensical. But a single level dip into the Hexblade is actually pretty crazy. And you can also get the Wrathful Smite. However, this does end up taking up your bonus action as well, so not always optimal. But the big thing here is you get yourself the Bind Hex weapon. So this will make it so you're proficient with the weapon, and you can apply the Hexblade's curse on your attack. So you got the Hexblade's curse here. Curse a target. Your damage rolls against the target will gain a bonus equal to your proficiency bonus. The number you need to roll a critical hit while attacking is also reduced by 1. So you can buff yourself up pretty strong here. You also get proficiency with medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. So getting the shield proficiency is also quite huge, because some races don't get it. I always play like a half elf, which gets the shield proficiency, but the ability to use charisma as your attack modifier is actually huge for a number of classes that, you know, have to build around dexterity and other abilities. So like for a bard, this is a huge opportunity to just build around your charisma. For a paladin, this is perfect, because you can still get the level 11 ability to give an additional radiant damage on your attacks, and with this you can use charisma for your attack rolls. It also can work on a fighter who can go to level 11, get the 3 attacks, and then also then use charisma for the attack rolls, which is an option. It's not going to be the most optimal, but some people might want to do a charisma fighter. So this makes anything really viable. But I would recommend always taking the shield spell if you're just going to do a single level dip into this. I'll show off what higher levels of this gives, but I think this is the best single level dip now for a lot of different classes. Previously, the best single level dip was likely the War Cleric for the bonus action attacks, but I think this one has a lot to give. And then also, if you go to level 2, you can get your Eldritch Invocation, so you can beef up your Eldritch Blast as well and go full in on charisma. So if you just wanted to use 2 levels of this, 1 level, 2 levels, it's all good. This kind of makes Pack the Blade a little bit obsolete, but this makes Pack the Chain and Pack the Tome a little bit better. So at level 6 here, you get the Accursed Spectre. So whenever you are an ally with an 18 meters, slay a creature that is afflicted with your Hexblade's curse, you can raise an Accursed Spectre that will fight alongside you for a short period of time. So that's nice, giving yourself an extra summon here, pretty effective. But again, it's a warlock at the end of the day, so it does have its limitations, and it's pretty strong actually in melee combat. And once you get yourself to level 10, you can get the Armor of Hexes. So when a creature you are cursed with the Hexblade's curse attacks you, you can possibly nullify the attack using a reaction. Has a 50% chance of succeeding, which is actually a pretty good chance of success. So that's actually really good. The Warlock also gets Banishing Smite range as a weapon attack choice, which is pretty strong because this gives you basically a smite that does force damage and can possibly banish your target. So that is pretty cool. It does use your bonus action, but it's very strong. And there was a small change to Life Drinker, which previously said attacks made with your packed weapon deal additional necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier. Now it says attacks with your weapon, so this is meant to work on any type of attacks, so you don't have to worry about it being your pack weapon now. So what's strong about this? You get different smites, you get the shield spell, you can apply the bind hex weapon. It's got some benefits to it, and I think it really shines with a multi-class with another charisma based class. Now, my personal favorite and a pretty strong subclass is the Shadow Magic. I don't think it's as strong as the Draconic Bloodline because there's a lot of crazy builds with that. And Storm Sorcerer is also very powerful, but it's pretty strong on its own. What it does best is you got the Dark Vision, you get the Strength of the Grave, so if you get down, you can come back up with 1 health point. But we get the ability at level 2 to get a very special version of the Darkness spell, and we can see in this Darkness. So I guess it's level 3. So the Eyes of the Dark here gives you a normal darkness spell, but also gives you a sorcery point. It also has a custom icon, as you can see there. It has the sorcery point in the middle, which I think is actually awesome. So Eyes of the Dark, create a darkness that heavily obscures and blinds targets within. Creatures cannot make ranged attacks into or out of it. As an action and 2 sorcery points, you can use this. And what's nice about this, you can actually see in the darkness, so you can go into it and hide out in it. Now, the big benefit of this class is you're going to see the Hound of Ill Omen. So at level 6, this is when we do get our best boy, the Hound of Ill Omen, which uses 3 sorcery points and a bonus action. Now, what's crazy about the dog is whenever you summon it in, it can attack and apply an omen to a target. Whenever there's an omen, you must deal a specific damage type and then you regain a sorcery point. So if you apply it, it does the cold damage version of it, then you have to use something like the Ice Knife or even just Ray of Frost. You'll regain a sorcery point, which you can then use to further enhance your abilities as a sorcerer. So actually really, really strong. Now at level 11, you also get the Shadow Walk, which allows you to teleport into the shadows. The next spell you cast will benefit from distance spell without costing any sorcery points, which increases the range of the spell by 50%, so you can really blast someone hard with that. I think that's a really nice benefit too, because then you can kind of shadow yourself away, go far away out of the range of a target, and then hit them hard with something like the with an increased range spell. So we can go ahead here and summon in the Hound of Ill Omen, which you're going to see just plop down there. It looks like Scratch, but the kind of fiery darkness. I think it looks really cool. So Nimbus is its name. When it gets attacks, it'll split off into splintered version of it, which you'll also see. Now, where this class really succeeds is with hiding out in the darkness. So we can use our Eyes of the Dark here and then create a darkness that we're able to hang out in. So we can go with something like that, and then it'll blind targets. But then what we can do also is then attack from our darkness. So it's pretty strong because you get all those benefits of using darkness. So I guess I'll just go with an attack here just to start off our combat. And stealth was succeeding quite a bit here. But we can just hide out in our darkness. We don't have to really do too much. So the nice thing about darkness is it messes with the enemy's AI. You're coming with me. They don't know what to do about us. So they just run around. And then we're safely in our darkness here. And then we can just go ahead and cast spells from our darkness and just continually blitz the enemies here because they don't know what's going on. So yeah, you can even drop down something silly like a fireball right here on top of everybody and get counterspelled, which can happen. That's something that definitely can happen. But we'll drop a secondary fireball here. But the nice thing is everyone's blinded here and they don't know what's going on. Meanwhile, we're just happily just chilling out in the darkness. So this makes some very powerful abilities because you can just go ahead, hide out, and then continually attack targets with your powerful abilities. They don't know what's going on. And then you also got the Shadow Step here, which allows you to teleport and then get the extra benefits of that. So we're just going to let them come at us. And the cool thing about this is we got our doggo there too. So I guess I'll charm our enemies. I should have had to attack our dog because the dog will splinter off, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, it's actually pretty powerful. So for some reason, my dog wasn't actually in combat. I'm not sure what's going on there, but oops, I skipped my turn. That was not ideal. That's not what I want to do. I want to show off some more spells and teleporting around here, but it'll probably attack the dog there, which you get the Splinter Shadow, which will let you teleport into another dog. If they do a cleave, they can attack both of them, and both those dogs will actually splinter into another dog, as you can see there. So you get endless puppers, which is awesome. So they will work on their own right. They attack who they attack. You get to control Nimbus here, but all these other ones. Although if they do get hit with radiant damage, you don't get the splinter off. So the Crusader's Mantle there actually prevents the Shadowed Hound from appearing. So yeah, the nice thing about the Sorcerer is they're very powerful with their spells. So you got like Chain Lightning, and it blasts really hard. And then you also got things like your Cone of Cold here. I don't want to hit my doggos there, so we'll just go with a Lightning Bolt, which will just blast these two. And then hopefully our doggo can do the rest. But then you also got like your Shadow Walk here, so you can teleport around in the darkness. And then you get a free distance spell, so increases the range by 50%, which is pretty crazy. And then with the dog, you get the Ominous Bite here, which whenever you attack somebody, whenever they get hit with that, crap, that's not ideal. Now they have radiant damage, so that wouldn't split it. What's cool about this is it'll apply that the Omen, which then, oh cool, they use the Shadow Curse Vines, which can bind all the targets here, which is a nice Air of Effect spell. So you can see here we just got ourselves another doggo. Endless doggos, it's awesome. So yeah, use the Illithid ability Charm so that they keep attacking your dog and making more dogs. You do have to heal your dog though. That's something I would recommend doing. They will absorb hits for your team though, which is awesome. So very effective way of tanking for your team. And yeah, going with something like this is actually really powerful. So Darkness being a very effective spell here, because you can use this to just attack a variety of people without having to get out and into the fray of combat. So you can see here we're just hiding in darkness, blasting away with our spells. You also got the Quicken spell, so you can just continually blast away with even stronger spells. And yeah, it's just a blast to play this class. That dog is awesome. Can I pet that dog? It's pretty good. So those are the top 5 new subclasses in Baldur's Gate 3's patch 8. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.